I think the job description for interim CAO. So I can give you copies just so you can think about it. We can move this portion to closed session. How would you like to proceed?
It looks like we can't, so, yeah.
Okay.
I move you, yeah, we can.
So,
Yeah.
I did not make this.
okay, so if you would like copies of the job description, I do have
Yeah.
printed
Yeah.
copies for each one of you.
Could you email it?
I can also email them to you as well.
Email it.
Emails, okay? So do you want to look at schedules so we can notify candidates? Do you want to interview all candidates in one day? Another option is to have a separate special meeting for interviews.
Right, that's
I
probably,
would-
I like that, but of course, it's the colleagues as well, if they, what their discretion is.
Because I would recommend that we book at least an hour for each one and then have a few minutes for you guys to discuss and confer, have a break in between interviews. If you want to compare and contrast all 6 candidates in one day, it would probably need to be a separate special meeting.
Right. Supervisor Sabatier?
Thank you for, oh, there we are. Thank you for bringing this to us. I wanted to kind of touch on some of the other stuff that's already been discussed as well. The idea that there's confidentiality is I'm almost looking for the opposite, just pure transparency for everybody. Of course, you could only do so much transparency because there's some personnel information, but as far as what actions has been taken, rather than being confidential, because it's weird for us to say, don't speak with the person who's your boss, so I don't know what kind of precedence that is, but to be transparent so everybody is aware of what actions has been taken, I think just kind of opens it up and then there's no issues. And same thing with the idea that, and I'm not seeing it here, basically that you would get direction or advice from the chair. I can't see the specific thing, but I know I read it in there.
Yes, it's in the second paragraph.
Because again, as a staff member rather than as a director of a department, I just worry about that precedent. And to me, we set the ground rules today of what we're looking to do, and then at that point, there's a list of things that you would go ahead and be able to discuss with the interim CAO, which at that point, the interim CAO can go ahead and talk to the chair, and the chair can provide that direction to the, it's just an awkward thing of, if we do it for one, where do we stop? So that's my only kind of discomfort with those things. And I just wanted to share that.
Sure. The reason I recommended that, because you wanted to make sure that there was no sphere of influence with my interim boss. So just as it relates to the recruitment is why I was saying that it would not be discussed with her unless she's a qualified candidate, which we have notified all qualified candidates that they're qualified, that we're conferring to set up interviews, just so we keep everybody actively interested. So I can move in any direction you'd like me to go.
Well, Ms. Grant and then Vice Chair Scott.
I was just going to say that in the past, when there have been these kind of conflicts, it's not unusual to develop a special rule to address them. It's whatever your board feels comfortable with. It doesn't set a precedent. Precedent takes a great deal more than that.
Okay, and I just wanted to express that. And then as far as, I think if we're going to do 6, I'm all good for a special meeting just to make sure we have the time allotted for making sure. But I do want to offer an idea, and I know that there was the idea already of a panel that would review. I'm still very interested in having feedback from a panel of partners in our communities that would be able to at least give us their feedback so that we can go ahead and know what we're looking at and also hear from that panel and being able to utilize that information. It does not necessary as far as I'm concerned, but it's something I am interested in. That's something that the rest of the board is interested in doing as well.
Vice Chair Scott?
I guess I'm just a little confused about your questions, because I believe the last time we had this discussion, you were the one that was really concerned about confidentiality.
No, I was not.
That was me.
Was it you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just asked about it.
Oh,
and we
sorry. I
We
just
cleared
never-
it up because I think Supervisor Pyska said, let's clear that up. And so we got
Okay.
to a point of it, and so, yeah.
Sorry.
But, so, we were at
Selecting dates, right?
selecting
We're going
dates.
to have a special meeting.
Selecting dates, but now there's consideration of whether or not you want to do
Have a
a
panel.
panel. But I think that does put another step in if you guys are making the decision on the candidate that you think best fits your needs. It would be unusual to have you guys do it and then convene a panel. But it also creates length in the interview process.
Right.
And it's already been a number of weeks since we closed the job, and then to convene a panel would be probably a couple more weeks to find a panel, to get dates set where everybody's schedule jives, and then schedule the interview, and then schedule another interview with the board for the top candidates.
Okay.
And the direction from Chair Crandall was that he thought you guys would like to see all candidates to compare and contrast.
Well, not all, but
All qualified candidates, yes.
Yeah. And so, Vice Chair Scott?
I agree. I think we just need to set a time and have the 6 candidates come in. I believe time is at the essence, and we've already, as you said, it's been a couple weeks, and I think that would push it out where we may lose somebody that really might be good for the position.
Yep, I think this is going to be hard enough for us to find a date to meet at this point, so.
So what I'm going to do is before I'll open up the public input so that we can come back and decide the rest, if that's okay. And is there anybody in the chambers that would like to speak on this? Anybody online? I'm not seeing any hands up. Do you see any? Okay. So bring it back to the board, and we'll, I guess, start with it. Well, first off, do we want a panel? Do we want a panel to set first?
I don't think so.
I'm not in favor of a panel at this point. I agree with interviewing all the candidates here at the board level.
Okay. All qualified candidates?
Yeah, the qualified candidates. they
So,
meet.
okay. So we know that, so there's that. So now we'll schedule what looks good for a schedule. And we all are comfortable with a special meeting, or?
I think the special meeting is going to definitely be required.
Okay. So we'll work with a special meeting. So now,
May 27th works for me.
It's a Friday.
Good on that?
Yeah, I think I'm good on that too.
I think if everybody's good on that, let's start with that day. Are you, what time? We would have to probably start at 9.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
The only conflict I may have is my son's graduating from high school that day. So
Oh.
we would have to be done by 4:30. That's my only thing.
Are we doing all in one day, or like 3 and then 3?
That's what I'm thinking.
That would be my only thing.
All in one day?
Would you be opposed to starting at 8 a.m.?
No,
I wouldn't be.
Me neither.
do it.
Make it happen.
Doesn't get a
Just know I'm leaving at 4:30.
We gotcha.
Okay, so I'll schedule an hour for each candidate. You could do a 45-minute interview, a 15-minute debrief, and then I'll build in some breaks and a lunch.
And the candidates will be coming in person?
Yes.
Okay?
In person or Zoom, or both, or?
Yeah, if.
In person.
If somebody had a scheduling issue, because I looked at the candidates, but I didn't look if they were from a different state. I think most of them are
I
local.
think having both available would be the thing to do.
In person if at all possible, and if that doesn't work, then we can utilize Zoom.
Agreed.
I think we're on the same page on that. Johanna,
Will human resources be providing the Zoom link, or do you?
Yes.
Okay. And then I will send a Zoom link on the actual agenda, because it's all closed session.
No, I think we have to open, don't we? Have to,
we have to,
Oh, it has to open, so, okay.
do we have to open?
1 second, yeah, so we would have to open and then go into closed session.
But that Zoom link would be only for closed session, therefore not made public.
Right, you don't have to have a Zoom link just to open the meeting, but the Zoom link would be just for the closed session then.
All right.
Yeah, we'll provide that.
Yeah,
For the interviews.
yeah.
I'm good.
All right. So with that, I think, last thing, as a confidential chief administrator, is that still something we need to deal with, approved confidential chief administrative officer recruitment protocol, or did we do that too? That's in place?
I think we just did that.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Usually I'll go past and then I'm like, you forgot. And so it looks like we have what we need here, right? Do we need to take action on this as well, on this grant, or consensus is fine?
The protocol, I think, should have some kind of action. Consensus would be fine, however.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
yes, to approve the confidential chief recruitment protocol.
I think she said we needed a motion for that.
But she was talking about,
Yeah.
for the protocol.
Oh, consensus.
Okay, she said consensus is fine, so.
We don't need a motion for a special meeting, though, do we? We do.
Oh, good call, so make it.
So, sorry.
move that-
Approve the protocol as written? Okay.
Yes.
I move that we approve a special meeting on May 27th, 8 a.m. for interviewing CAO candidates.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I think we're good. We're good for there. All right. With that, since you're here, we'll go ahead and move on to item 7.3, consideration of amendment to the County of Lake COVID-19 Public Health Emergency Worksite Protocol. And this is also Pam Samick, Human Resources Director.
Right. So there's not many changes to the protocol. I updated the masking requirement, removing the public settings for public transportation. Added clarification for 10-day masking following exposure, meaning if you have an exposure, you have to be able to wear a mask at work for those 10 days following the exposure. And I updated the addendum 3A, the investigative form, to add the new contact in administration, and then put that out. Those are the changes. There were a couple of errors that Supervisor Sabatier brought to my attention. They were clerical errors, which I can correct. Any questions regarding the protocol?
Supervisor Sabatier?
Just wanted to put it out there that the clerical changes don't have substantive change. It's just simple little changes, so.
Great.
All right. Any other questions? No comments? I'll open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the chambers? I don't see anybody coming up to the microphone, and I don't see anybody on Zoom, so I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the amendment to the County of Lake COVID-19 Public Health Emergency Worksite Protocol. It'd be interesting to find out which amendment this is, the 7th, the 8th?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Pam.
I think we've changed it about 100 times.
Agreed.
So, no worries. And so now we'll move on to our item 7.5, consideration of presentation and discussion by Watershed Protection District for the request to allocate $500,000 internal matching funds over a period of 6 years to support $1.9 million in approved and partially awarded Blue Ribbon Committee Stormwater Project grant funds. Yes, so it's, this will be presented by either Angela Dowd, or Angela De Palma Dow, and Marina Del Gianni. All right, she's on. There we go. And so we'll give the floor to you.
Hello, thank you so much for having me this afternoon, the board. Marina was going to join me. I think she's still trying to get into the Zoom room, but I can lead this topic. Again, thank you so much for bringing this before the board today. I did just want to clarify that we had provided you a package of information ahead of time, although I wanted to point out a correction for one of those items. So you guys should have gotten a copy of the original. We wrote this as a original cannabis grant request for internal cannabis grant funds. And so I provided the original proposal for that grant. I also provided a copy of the presentation. I have about a 10-minute presentation for you today to go along with this item. And I also provided you with the memo. However, the memo that's on Granicus is the correct one. The distinction between the two is that in the one I provided you in the package, it indicated these would be cannabis internal tax funds that we were requesting the match. However, we have changed it to be more broad in scope to be the internal match fund. So not specific to cannabis tax funds for this. And I know that some of the admin is here to help with this discussion if needed.
All right.
All right, and I can go ahead and, if it's all right, I can share my screen and start the presentation for this item?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so my name is Angela Palmadao. I'm Invasive Species Program Coordinator for Water Resources and for the Watershed Protection District, but I also manage our stormwater programming and surface water quality monitoring programming. And I also serve on the technical subcommittee of the Blue Ribbon Committee for the rehabilitation of Clear Lake. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about the Lake County Stormwater Program and Infrastructure Improvement Grant that we've received or approved from the Blue Ribbon Committee and the potential for a match for this program. So the purpose of this presentation today is to demonstrate a need to match approved Blue Ribbon Committee funds. So in September 23rd, this is actually 2021, September 22 hasn't happened yet. But the Blue Ribbon Committee approved $1.9 million in grant funds to improve stormwater programming and projects within the County of Lake. And currently $706,000 of those funds were approved immediately since it was an implementation project. And those funds are under contract, and you guys actually approved the approval of receiving those funds on the consent item today. So thank you very much for doing that. And we are requesting internal county funds to match this $1.9 million for $500,000 is the match request we're asking for. And so the purpose of today is to address any questions in a discussion and also provide some background and some need, demonstrate the need for this match and for this program. And so we are requesting $500,000 matched internal county funds for the period of this coming fiscal year, 2022, 2023, to 2027 to 2028. And we would really like to gain the support of the board and commitment to this match starting in the next fiscal year of 2022, 2023 at a rolling basis. So $100,000 per year starting next year, next fiscal year, until 5 years after that. And we do see these funds as being rollover. So if any given year we don't spend the $100,000, if we have like a $20,000 left, that'll roll over into the next year. So we're really committed to using these funds, but we're not gaining any access of unused funds. And we are kindly asking for $50,000 in advance in order to start purchasing equipment and using these grants. We need money to start that, and I'm sure you're aware that state programs and grant funds, even through the Blue Ribbon Committee, are reimbursement basis. And so sometimes for us to start projects, we have to have money to start that process. So the summary of need for this is the overall project. So what we went to the Blue Ribbon Committee for to ask for these funds in the first place is that it's a desperately needed project, stormwater management, stormwater improvements. And this is because there is a direct connection between stormwater runoff and lake water quality. And this is really important because Clear Lake serves as a drinking water source, and we currently pay some of the highest rates in the states for this drinking water source. And previous and current research, even here locally, that's been completed over the last 30 years, and some current research that's going on right now in the lake, always results in the same recommendation that improved stormwater infrastructure is important to reduce nutrients such as phosphorus and nitrogen, which are the P and the N there. We have a history of applying for external stormwater resource or stormwater funds. when we look at our overall grant history, we're really good about getting grants in this department. So since 2018, we've been awarded $3.4 million in grants for non-stormwater projects. So we know how to write grants. We know how to get grants. We know how to execute them. We applied for $2.8 million in specifically stormwater or nutrient reduction grants, and we have not gotten those. So for some reason, we're just not as competitive with stormwater grants when we are in everything else that we apply for. And this is just important because now that we have this grant from the Blue Ribbon Committee for $1.9 million, we really want to make sure that we can maximize those funds and make this program really robust so it can actually serve the intent to improve water quality. So this match is really needed to ensure that we can have that continuity in the execution of this program and completeness. So making sure that we are able to carry out all the tasks or any related tasks that are needed to make sure that we're completing all of those things that we indicated in the grant or other things that pop up that we might need to do. We also want to make sure that we can transition to the sustainability and the legacy of this project. So a lot of time projects work in patchwork. You get a grant, you complete the project, and then it's done. Stormwater is not a type of program like that. We're always going to have rain that falls in the landscape. We're always going to have stormwater infrastructure like culverts, drains. We're always going to have these things on the land that we're going to need to manage and improve. And so we need to make sure that we incorporate that continuity and that legacy in these programs. Now there's some built-in oversight with this program. The Lake County Clean Water Program Management Council, we've been meeting pretty regularly. This is the members of the Management Council. This is like the Stormwater Advisory Group. This is what it used to be called. And now it's called the Clean Water Program Management Council. We have representatives here from the City of Lakeport, City of Clear Lake, Watershed Protection District, as well as Water Resources in the County of Lake. And everybody in this Management Council wrote a letter of support to the Blue Ribbon Committee for this project with the intent that there might be other things that we need. And so we would be asking for this match. And these are some of the tasks. I'm going to go through each of these here in a second. But you can see how those funds, these are what it was approved from the Blue Ribbon Committee, the $1.9 million. This is how that was broken up. And you can see tasks, oh, they're all numbered 1. Okay, well, it's the 4th one down. Sorry about that. The trash plan implementation. This was the implementation project that was awarded funds right away from the Blue Ribbon Committee and is currently in contract. And so we should be starting that within a couple months. And all the other tasks will be approved next year in the governor's budget. And that's when those projects will start. And so you can see that this total project over the next 5-year period will be somewhere around the range of $2.4 million. So the first one, project administration, pretty self-explanatory. Again, this will be provided oversight by the Watershed Protection District with the Clean Water Program. And if you go onto our website, under the Clean Water Program Management Council documents, we have a long history of meeting regularly and accomplishing a lot of tasks within the Clean Water Program. And so we do have a history of being able to accomplish these things, and this would be a great board for oversight for this. The second task is infrastructure assessment and improvement. And this will be mostly coordinated by the Watershed Protection District with also a consultant that'll go out into the county, look at all the infrastructure that we have and make an assessment about which ones should be improved, which ones can be improved. That'll provide the maximum amount of water quality improvement. So where can we put some green infrastructure or some retention basins so that we can maximize the way that we hold nutrients on the land and not let them flow to the lake. And so this will include on-the-ground assessments, structural controls, stormwater infrastructure, and prioritize areas that can be improved, and then do some designs. So when implementation funds come up, we're ready to go. We can submit those boots on the ground projects. And this here on the right is a photo. I'm not picking on Lakeport, but this is the type of stormwater infrastructure that we see every day that's out there that really is conveying that stormwater directly to the lake. And so here's an example of one. This is on the Lucerne side of the lake. This is Caltrans 20. You're looking over at the lake. And this is very common to have these big drains that basically just funnel everything, all the runoff, stormwater straight out of pipe right into the lake. There's really nothing there to slow it, stop it, or settle that water and allow those sediments or nutrients to filter out. So what we want to do is kind of replace this infrastructure we have that's outdated here on the left with infrastructure on the right. But which ones do we choose? What are the sizings? What are the materials that are best? That's what this task will do, is figure that out for us. And here's some examples of another location on the left, a cement channel that's basically made to convey that water as fast as possible out of that pipe and into the lake and away from the homes, away from the road. And what we want to do is see if we can replace it with infrastructure like here on the right. There's two examples that are lakeside, near water bodies that have some smart stormwater design in place. Task 3 is to improve stormwater management policy, program review and improvement. So everything comes down to our ordinances, our policies we have in place. And again, we'll get a consultant to help us go through everything that we have existing right now and indicate ways that we can improve it and actually write that language for us and work with us to improve all of those administrative policy things that we need so we can make this program better for management. And this will work across the departments that have some stake in stormwater. That includes public works, planning, water resources, environmental health, as well as jurisdictions at Clear Lake and the city of Clear Lake and Lakeport. This task also updates our stormwater management plan. The last time this plan was updated was 2003, and it hasn't been touched in 2008, so it's a little expired. And then a lot of the stuff we've been working on recently, the improvements will incorporate all those things we've done, like the program effectiveness assessment improvement plan, which we got completed last year. Task 4, this one's in progress. This is really exciting. So this is for trash plan implementation. And this will work across a variety of departments like water resources, public services, code enforcement, to provide resources and means to do solid waste removal enforcement. We want to start Adopt a Drain, expand the Adopt a Street program, and maybe have a Creeks and Streets cleanup event program that's more regular in more places. And we have more of these events like we have pictured here on the right, where we can get some of those trash out of these waterways and into the landfill where they belong. This task will also improve our illicit discharge spill response. So whenever there's a spill in a creek or a waterway, we have more processes set up to be able to respond appropriately and remove impact of any of those contaminants or pollution. Last task is our outreach education. This is really important, right? Because we want to make sure that we're communicating and educating the public about stormwater and why they should care about stormwater so we can stop pollution and runoff from the source before it's even created. And so a lot of this will be creating educational content, materials, and curricula that'll be out in the schools and available. And then also outreach content distribution in all sorts of formats so people can learn about stormwater and the importance of it and its role with Clear Lake and other aquatic resources. And this is, I think, one of the most important parts because it's creating that legacy of stormwater and water quality awareness and that appreciation and how important it is for Clear Lake and Greater Lake County. So that was a lot. Thank you so much. Here's a summary of the ask today. We're asking for commitment to an internal county match to support this grant project. Again, $500,000 between 2022 to 2028 on a rollover basis, so we maximize those funds. We're not just letting funds sit there unused. And then we are kindly asking for a $50,000 advance to our department so we can start this project with some of those Blue Ribbon Committee funds that were already granted and approved and in contract. And again, this matches to ensure project continuity. There's some overhead fringe costs that aren't included in the grant, and that $1.9 million, that could be pretty significant. There might be some unforeseen internal costs, like some additional labor or staff time that we need to dedicate to get these tasks completed, or additional contractor costs. We have to do extra monitoring at any point to evaluate project success, monitoring lab analysis. Some of that's included in the Blue Ribbon Committee grants, but those costs change all the time. This would also include if we have another fire, if we need to do some emergency sampling, some of those costs could be included in there because that will contribute to stormwater. Also, we want to make sure that we have the ability to apply for future grants, particularly if we're looking for some implementation funds that are built off of some of the planning that is going to be produced from this project. And we want to make sure we're complying with any mandates or state orders and permit requirements that pop up. Over a 5-year period, we can expect to see 2 or 3 of those orders. And so some of these match funds will help us be able to meet those to make sure we stay in compliance. And then additional coordinating costs. So the Clean Water Program, it's a collaborative, again, between City of Lakeport, City of Clear Lake, and Lake County and the Watershed Protection District. And it takes a lot to keep that program going. We want to make sure that all of our partners are taken care of if there's anything that we need to do together to maintain this program. Last thing, if anybody is interested in anything we've talked about today, you want to participate directly, we do have a clean water program this Thursday at 2 p.m. It's via Zoom, so anybody could log in, and if you want to attend and you don't have Zoom, you can contact us at Water Resources and we can arrange participation in person. And I'm really grateful that we're able to have these programs and talk about these fun things like stormwater. And thank you, our rep, Supervisor Crandall, participates, as well as Supervisor Sabatier is the alternate on this program. And then Supervisor Crandall is our representative on the Blue Ribbon Committee. So thank you. Thank you. That was a lot. I'll take any questions now and can help facilitate a discussion for this item.
Vice Chair Scott?
I don't have any questions, just that I definitely support this project. I know some of the phone calls I receive are from the Soda Bay area where we do have stormwater catches, but we're not cleaning those out. So they're not doing their job as catching all the rubbish and stuff that will ultimately end up in our lake. So I support this, and I think we need to be moving forward and helping Water Resources do their job.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Thank you for the presentation. I know that this has been something we've been talking about in the Clean Water program for quite a while, to getting this concept moving forward and how to get the funding to be able to really do this. And so I'm very interested in pushing this forward. Glad that the Blue Ribbon Committee is joining forces with the Clean Water Act to be able to move this forward as well. But I'm very interested in the financial portion of it and hearing from admin office as far as where does that fit into the cannabis taxes and other general funds that are being utilized. That's something of interest that I'd like to hear before giving the final approval. Real quick, you said $50,000 up front. Does that mean that there's $450,000 left for the entirety of the match, or is that in addition to the 500? Just kind of wanted to check in.
We were thinking it was going to be part of the 500,000. It's just to jumpstart the project so we can start purchasing things that we need right away. So it would be, you are correct, with the 450,000 would be left. So technically for the first year, if we're asking for 100,000 each year, this first fiscal year, it'd be 50,000 would be an advance test, and the other 50,000 we would just spend like normal. We've had one cannabis tax with you guys before program, and it would operate the same way.
So it's like the 22-23 year would start a little early, we just front 50, and then another 50 comes in once the actual fiscal year starts.
Or it could start during July 1st. It can start during the fiscal year, beginning of fiscal year. That's when we're planning our contract will be done with the state, the Natural Resource Agency, for that first chunk of 706,000. And so we would spend down that 50,000 advance first, and then any we spend over that 50,000 advance, we would apply for the reimbursement internally, like normal, with the internal cannabis grants, like that. Okay. That's right, Stephen? Okay, Stephen's nodding, yes.
Stephen,
Thank
want
you.
to unmute. Thank you.
I thought you could hear my head rattle. So, about the finances, there are some one-time funds within the regular general fund that we could throw towards this. But yes, the idea was this is a great program that can be funded through cannabis. Even with the 50% reduction, because we have allocated a lot of our cannabis funds, a lot of it hasn't been spent. So what that brings us down to is the reason why I'm looking off to my right is I'm actually looking at my Form 5 for the upcoming 22-23 budget for cannabis. And we're looking at, even if we receive 50% of what we normally do, so between 3 and 4 million, we should have about 2 million set aside for cannabis policy items. And this would fall into that category. It would only be 100,000 in 22-23, and then 100,000 the year after, in the year after. So it's really only 100,000 hit on that 2 million. I think this is a great project that can be utilized from the cannabis funds.
Thank you, Stephen. Are there any other questions? So we'll open it up to the public in case there's anyone from the public online that would like to make a comment on this. I'm not seeing anyone. So I will close public comment and bring it back to the board. Supervisor Simon?
Yeah, I did have just one follow-up question. Angela, when we had it up there, obviously our partners with ourselves, the county, but also the city of Lakeport and the city of Clear Lake are going to be beneficiaries. Was there any conversation about asking those folks to chip, to put some funds into the program?
That's a great question, Supervisor Simon. And when we proposed this project to the Blue Ribbon Committee, part of their, not their grant requirements, but they encourage collaboration and support. So we proposed this project from the Clean Water Program angle because we do already have that built-in collaborative effort and contribution. There's been other projects that we have done with the Clean Water Program. So there's been some TMDL, or we have a state requirement to reduce sediment phosphorus. We had to do some trainings, and those were all done with collaboration and contribution from both cities. So it's kind of project by project. So if we do a project within this overall grant project, we'll bring it to the Clean Water Program, see how much it costs, how much we have grant funds, and then we kind of all look at it and then contribute a little bit or see where we can contribute. It's really project by project because the size of Lakeport, the size of Clear Lake, some projects are better done by the area, if it's something on the land. Some projects are better done by the population. So we have these factors that we account for some of those differences, and so it's easier to do it project by project than it is overall. But the idea of the Blue Ribbon Committee funds was that it was going towards collaborative projects, so they could be used for anything by these entities. But if you guys have some requirements for the $500,000 match for that, again, that's for the county. That was for us to make sure that we could complete our side of these projects. So the Blue Ribbon Committee funds would really be used to do anything for the Clean Water Program, but the $500,000 match would be to make sure that we have the staff, the county side, to complete these tasks that need to be done. The county, as you know, owns or has more land. We manage more land. We are in charge of way more land and stormwater infrastructure than either of the cities. So it's going to cost us a lot more for us to make sure that we're able to carry out these tasks. I hope that answered your question. And then Stephen, yeah, you want to add? That'd be great.
Well, I don't want to butt into the board. Do any board members have a question first?
Go ahead, Stephen. I asked my questions. Go ahead if you have an answer.
Well, I don't have an answer that's for Angela, but I did have a question actually for Angela where the 500,000 makes the whole project happen, period. But would it be under 500,000 depending on if we have projects in Lakeport and Clear Lake? So our match technically would be about 490, let's say, instead, and you can possibly use that for something else within to expand the project past the 1.9? Because I wasn't sure, you were saying it's by project. Is it by project within this overall grant? Or is this grant? Go ahead.
Yes, usually when we do the contributions from the cities and the counties, it's by project because we'll get a proposal and estimate from a contractor to do a certain project, and then we figure out how much that costs, and then we figure out what factor that we want to split that cost with, whether it's area-based or population-based, or sometimes we do a combination of those, both of those things, and then we do a split that way. Usually the cost comes down to Lakeport and City of Clear Lake is very, very small compared to county because we have so much space, population, and area. But that is the way that we split up those before. So if I think I'm understanding your question correctly, that there would be less needed of that 500,000 if there's more contribution from the two cities. And that's why we're doing it year by year, and it would be by project by project. So, and also the amount that's allocated for each task completion in the Blue Ribbon Committee proposal, you know, what if those numbers get outdated by the time we get to that year where that project's done, and we need a little bit more to complete that project, then that's where those extra funds would help to support so we can actually complete that aspect. There's a lot of projects, mini projects, big projects within each task that'll need to be done within this grant. I hope that answered your question.
That's what I figured, and I just wanted it explained a little better. That was my understanding as well.
Okay.
All right, I want to make sure I know when we do projects, when we say we have partners, You know, obviously, the county is going to have the heavy lifting. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, as always, you know, having skin in the game obviously brings more people to the table, allows more projects. So it seems like at this point, we're going to be fitting the whole bill and then moving those projects across. So anyway, I wanted to bring it up during our conversations here, you know, that we'll be fitting the whole bill at this point.
Any other questions? And did I close public input already? Because I seen someone raise their hand online, I don't know.
I was wondering where Betsy was.
Yeah.
This is her thing.
Betsy, go ahead and unmute and,
Thank you for the reprieve, Mr. Chair. Of course, this is Betsy Kahn. I've been involved in the stormwater program for over 15 years. I want to laud Angela for her just amazing work to coordinate all these very complicated tasks. I just wanted to say that under the terms of the conditions from the state water quality order, the cities have separate responsibilities for their own compliance. So in addition to coordination with the Watershed Protection District for the overall performance of the water quality order, they have their own fiscal obligations and their own performance to contribute. So don't think that they're not doing their job. Thank you.
thank you.
No, I just want to make a point. I wasn't saying that they weren't doing their job when we're talking about $500,000 from the cannabis funds. My question directly was, you know, if the cities were approached with having any funds coming into this program. So that was my question. I wasn't saying no one was doing their job, but as said, everybody has their requirements. We all need to go into this together. So I clearly, I'm not against doing the program, but I think the question needs to be asked because if we were going to partner with the cities, most likely they would be asking where our contributions would be if it was coming from the other end. So I just want to make sure we have the conversation and I put it out there.
Thank you. With that, I'll definitely this time close public input. And I think from here it says presentation and discussion, consideration of direction to staff as needed.
I'm good with what was offered with the $50,000 up front and the rest in the 22-23 to 27-28 fiscal years. This is a needed program. So if you guys are ready, I'll move to...
Stephen had a... Go ahead, Stephen.
I just wanted to, you didn't, Supervisor Spate didn't make it specific to cannabis. If you don't mind, do you mind leaving it open for either general fund or cannabis as the funder, just in case however that year looks like? So it's not tied down which pot it's coming from?
Well, I think that I'm fine with moving forward with the 50 grand, but I think as we move forward and have the bigger conversation about our budget, I think it's going to be important to know where that sits and where that money's going to come from. So I don't know if we need to approve the $500,000 today and say 50,000 and then approve the other with the budget. I'm not quite certain what is required to be able to move forward from the water resources perspective. But I think that overall, seeing the big picture of the budget and where this fits in and what funds are going to be utilized to fulfill the needs of this project is going to be an important conversation during the budget time.
Agreed. I think they need the promise that we will provide the match.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me. So I don't see an actual motion that needs to be made, but there's funding, so I'm going to say I approve of the request to allocate 500,000 of internal matching funds over a period of 6 years, with a upfront $50,000 right now, and the remaining of the $500,000 between 22-23 and 27-28 for the stormwater project fund. I hope that's appropriately stated.
And that's in the form of a motion.
That is in a form of a motion, yes.
I second it.
So I have a motion to end a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your
Thank you so much to
presentation.
the board. We really appreciate it. And we will have an update on this program coming up on the 25th of March. So you guys will get a more in-depth detail of what we do with the stormwater program and the clean water program. So look forward to that. And
March
thank
or
you so
May?
much again.
Did you say March?
I really appreciate it.
May or March?
May, sorry. Pregnancy
Thank
brain,
you,
sorry.
Susan.
Thank you.
It's all right. All right, with that, we'll close our, that item and go on to our 7.1 calendars, and we will start with Supervisor Pyska. Oh,
Could we reopen the schedule because there's a potential conflict? That's the
yes,
holiday
we'll
weekend.
come back up. So it is, let's see, the
No wonder we have it all up.
7.2, consideration of confidential recruitment, Chief Administrative Officer Protocol and Summary. And Pam would like to reopen this, so.
Sorry
Do I
about
need
that.
to do anything else besides that, or?
Just a motion, well, no, actually, you can just reopen it. It's not a reconsideration.
Okay.
So that weekend is the holiday weekend, so I'm thinking we could have some potential schedule conflicts with Friday with anybody who might be taking a 3-day weekend. So the 27th, so that following Monday is a holiday. So we might have scheduling conflicts with candidates who are doing a long weekend. So I just wanted to bring it up in case we wanted to change that date, or should we go with it? And
How's the 23rd?
I'm good on the
The
23rd.
23rd works for me.
So we're going to have to redo another motion,
Yeah. Yeah, because it was a special meeting.
rescind, and motion again.
23rd is good for everybody, 8 a.m.?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any conflicts in the evening, so we can start later. I don't have any graduating.
Let's start at 9.
9 helps
Monday.
because I drop off kids at school.
It's a Monday.
So 9 it is. So look at the 23rd, so I think we need to rescind, and then,
I move to rescind our scheduling of CAO interviews.
Second.
all right, so I have a motion and a second. However, I didn't get a chance to open it up to public input, just in case. I don't see anybody in the chambers. If there anybody is online, please raise your hand.
Nope.
Nobody online, so I'll bring it back, and we have a motion and a second. May 23rd, 9 a.m.
Yeah, and I'll just make the request that we get the agenda maybe posted Thursday before, so none of us will have a chance to talk to any staff or
Yeah,
anybody.
that does make things difficult for Tuesday. You're right. But I
It's
think- I
fine,
think
but
we
if
have
we
to
get
make
it,
it happen, yeah.
yeah, if we just get it posted by the 19th on Thursday,
Yeah, it's a super easy agenda to post.
So far.
so far, yeah.
Yeah,
You just jinxed it.
So I think we need to finish the vote for the rescind. 'Cause I
Yes.
don't know that we did that. And then
yeah, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, and then,
I move to schedule interviews for the CAO on May 23rd, Monday at 9 a.m.
Second?
so I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Pam. I hope
Thank
that
you.
helps.
I'll put it on there right now.
Back to our calendars. Supervisor Pyska.
Okay. Well, I have 2 things to report. I spoke about earlier the Wildfire Forest Resiliency Task Force, which was last week, and it was amazing. The big conversation that I mentioned before was the block grant possibility. So hopefully that's going to be incorporated into the 1 million acres a year strategy. Tara was there. There was a whole panel on prescribed burning and tribal burning, and so it was really an amazing day. The next one is in July in Sacramento, so I'm hoping Supervisor Simon can join me for that one. There's 2 more after that this year, I think, so. Anyway, that was the one that focuses on our north coast region. Then we're going to be up in the Sierras in September, and then back in Sacramento, I think, in November, and so just focusing on different regions throughout the state, and so it was really great to hear about all the collaborations happening in the North region, which a lot of it I didn't actually know about, so that was really helpful. And then Saturday was the first bike race to be back in Boggs, which was awesome and emotional, and it was a 8.6-mile loop that you started at 8 a.m. and you just kept riding and riding, and you can start your last loop at 4 o'clock. You have to be done by 5, and so you could do it as an individual or as a team. We had one of our high school seniors do 11 laps, so he did like over 90 miles. And so those were on the trails that were built with cannabis money that I contributed in February. So 400 racers coming to the community, $25,000. So basically, if they each spent $60 or a tank of gas, it's already been repaid back to the county. So we've got another race in 2 weeks where all the high schoolers are having their state finals. So we're going to have 1,200 more people come that weekend. And that weekend, they're not going to be camping in Boggs like they were last weekend, which means they're going to be in our hotels and Airbnbs and campgrounds all around South County. So it's a big deal. It was a huge push to get this done. There was a couple dreamers that right away, right after the Valley Fire, just never let go of the vision of bringing those trails back and bringing the races back, because this is the Bike Monkey race that really made Boggs famous years and years ago. So it was awesome. And so for my calendars, tomorrow I have a meeting with constituents, catching up on things. And then Thursday, we're going to San Ramon. You going?
Yes.
So we are touring the PG&E Hazard Awareness and Warning Center in San Ramon Thursday. And then I don't know if I'll make the 100 Women Strong after coming back from San Ramon. So that's unfortunate, because I was happy to see that event back. And then Friday, Lars and I are going on a mission. We're hiking to scout some things. So we've been trying to plan that for quite a long time. So that's finally coming together. Anyone can join me if you want.
Where are you going?
No takers, huh? No. We're gonna hike to the top of Cobb. I did call you. We kind of exchanged calls about the sunrise.
Yeah, that's at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, and they do the sunrise ceremony. It takes place on Robinson Rancheria. The night before, at the cultural dance grounds, they conduct a dance and a gathering. And then in the morning at 5 a.m., they meet at the Bloody Island Rock, where they commence with the ceremony before sunrise. So, and it's open to anybody. Yeah.
I'm really interested in doing that this year. I've wanted to do it in the past. I'm not 100% committed. I have a couple other things, but I'm working on making that commitment happen. And then later in the afternoon, I have an art show in Kelseyville. My gosh, I have Sunday free, amazingly enough. And then Monday, we have Risk Reduction Authority after my phone call with Susan.
All right. Supervisor Sabatier.
Yeah, last week, got on a phone call with the, I forget their name, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration out of Eureka, which had our sheriff department and other fire districts basically giving us a summary of what to expect weather-wise in the upcoming summer. Surprise, hotter than usual, drier than usual, with fuels at a higher level than we've seen in a while. So obviously the drought is still impacting us. Also met up with BLM, CAL FIRE, who else was out there? I think it was mostly BLM people. We had a couple archaeologists and biologists that walked around with us over on the Davis Ridge, and also looking at Phase 2 of the Clear Lake fuel break protection that's going on out there, and just making sure that things are moving along. They're going to be looking at, part of the difficulties for that is because it's in the Cache Creek Wilderness, and as far as what I'm understanding, there's never been a prescribed fire in a wilderness area, a dedicated wilderness area, so they're trying to figure out how to get that project moving and getting the yeses that we need to be able to do so. We did meet with a couple wilderness folk who are board members to make sure that that stays protected. They seem to be very positive that we can make this happen. It's just a matter of details. Instead of looking at it from a air attack, which was the original idea because of the challenge of the topography, now the anticipation is to have two separate two separate fire lines, and then trying to burn it from the edges for it to burn down into the valley on its own, so that we don't have people grappling down into the valley or having to use helicopters. There was the idea brought up of using drones, which I think would be a much cheaper way to do it, and it's been utilized, and maybe we'll go ahead and use that. As far as getting the whole NEPA process completed with the agreements with the wilderness groups, hopefully, we're still on track for getting that Phase 2 done, which is another ridgeline fuel break, Phase 2 done by next year, with the hope that we can get to the fire burn in between those two fire lines very soon after. Tomorrow I have LTA, APC, Lake EDC. Oh no, that's probably been canceled. I'll have to check in with that. I was supposed to do a walkthrough for Lake EDC facade improvement KUSD board meeting I'll be joining, Clean Water Act program on Thursday. On Friday, I'm going to be here in Lakeport for the Fallen Officers ceremony. And I think that's all I got until Tuesday. Flag raising ceremony in Clear Lake and meeting with our CAO, and that's it.
Thank you. Supervisor Simon.
Finishing up the board meeting today, tomorrow with Supervisor Sabate, have APC board and LTA in the morning. Thursday, going on the trip to San Ramon to the PG&E Hazard Awareness and Warning Center with Supervisor Pyska. Then that night, I do have math, Middletown Area Town Hall at 7 p.m. on Thursday night. And then Friday, weekly planning meeting is on my calendar here, so to do that. And then back here on Monday for a meeting with the interim CAO, Susan Parker, and then Risk Reduction Authority that afternoon. We did have our RDA successor meeting yesterday. We successfully approved the amendment and the resolution as we're moving forward. So that is completed. I think I signed that this morning when the meeting started. So we're moving forward with that process. Appreciate everybody's work and, you know, the RDA board members who helped move it forward. So we got that completed. Thank you, Anita, for being there, and Susan for the heavy lifting as we got through that process. Other than that, that's what I have. So.
All right, Vice Chair Scott.
Yes, tonight I have a meeting at 6 o'clock, and then tomorrow agenda review at 8:30, and then Healthy Start at 11, Children's Council at 1. On Thursday, I have Maternal Child and Health Advisory Board meeting at noon, Constituent meeting at 11, and then the Mental Health Advisory Board at 3, hoping to attend 100 Women at 5:30, 100 Women Plus, because there's more of us that are involved in that. I will also attend the Fallen Officers Memorial Friday at 5:30 here in Lakeport. On Saturday, there's actually 3 events going on. Mental Health Matters, which will be in the Library Park here at Lakeport. Blue Zones, which I believe is in Clear Lake.
On the 14th.
Yeah, at Austin Park. But I will be attending Foster Parent Appreciation event in Kelseyville that Saturday. So lots going on that day. And then Wellville arrives on Monday. So there's about 70 people coming from all over the United States to come experience Lake County. learn about all the great work we've done with Hope Rising and share ideas and hear what they've done in their communities to better the health of all those who are living there. So I'll be jumping around to meetings all next week with that, and getting ready for Tuesday's meeting.
All right. So today, finishing up our meeting, and then tomorrow, 8:30, agenda review with CAO, our interim CAO, Susan Parker, and Vice Chair Scott. There was something, was that this week that you were talking about, the designs with the EDC or something to me?
Yeah, let me talk to you about that, because they canceled the meeting on tomorrow, and so I'm wondering if all of that is moved forward, so let's figure that out.
As soon as I know, I'll make sure to be there, because I know it's in Clear Lake Oaks, if so. So if that happens, I'm doing that. Either way, I'll be at North Shore Fire on, at noon. They asked me to be a part of, I think they're working on something to do with train, so that's what yeah. Thursday, Clean Water Program, 2 p.m. We have that meeting. Is that stormwater, same thing we just met about today. Lucerne Area Town Hall on Thursday at 6 p.m. And we also have a Zoom coverage, but we also do that at basically at the castle. Friday, I pretty much will be working in the morning to, to about 3 or 4, and then I'll go be a part of the sunrise ceremony that they're having. It's I want to say the 20th, I think they've done so far. There's been like 20 years since they started this, and basically what it is it's some descendants from the Bloody Island Massacre conduct a sunrise ceremony to forgive the United States for the atrocities that took place, and so with that we gather and just, we do cultural dances and things of that nature, yeah.
So where exactly is it?
So in the evening, it's the same road that came to our board before. You take that road to get to our cultural facility on Foothill Drive. And then across the highway where the Bloody Island landmark is, yes, but not the one up the highway, but the old one that's on the actual rock. That's where it is at 5 a.m.
And what road is that?
That is Old Reclamation Road.
Old Reclamation Road, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, Foothill and actually after that one in the morning, they go back to the cultural grounds. So, and hopefully if they have the little gadget that opens it, you could just go from Old Lucerne Road or whatever and get back there. So anyhow, there's that. And then if I don't know how long it goes. Usually it can go to 2 or 3, or it can be done at 11. I don't know. So if it does, I'll try to hit one of these other things that we have, in Lakeport and maybe even in Clear Lake at Austin Park. Monday meeting with the interim CAO in the morning, and then I'll be back here Tuesday. So with that, I think that's all we have for today on our agenda, except for closed session, and I will read those off right now. So we have 8.1, Public Employee Evaluation, County Council, 8.2, Public Employee Evaluation, Public Health Officer, and 8.3, Conference with Legal Counsel, Existing Litigation Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, D1, City of Clear Lake v. County of Lake et al. With that, we thank you, and we will go into closed session, and I think we'll come out of it later, but once we're finished. Yep, we're going to come out of it. All right, thank you for that, and we will now go into closed session.
I guess I have to start my count again. I was at 8, now I'm back up to 9 meters.
Hey, can you help me with something in here?
You guys had a meeting.
Sure, anything, Delaney, doing stuff.
I was at 8 meetings.
Oh, gotcha, so sorry. Yeah, it does sound like Rob.
Don't say that.
No, well, so, because we put closed session up here, do we want to close the Zoom room right now? Are we coming back?
The answer is yes, let's go ahead and close it.
Oh, okay, okay, so, close it.
Just double checking.
Very good, Johanna. The memo's great.
And then, real quick,
I'm good with it. I haven't looked, but.
Oh, no, the memo.
well, because Spice is the closed session.
Yeah.
Because why not?
All right.
Yes, so it's just gonna be this station.
Why would that still be on?
Because that's where,
Worst Mother's Day ever.
Oh, for the doc, yeah.
So you guys can talk again.
Not to you.
I'm okay with that. I'm a good helper. And we won't let him.
Yeah. Well, he's in there, so I won't.
I was,
Because he, is waiting in the room for us.
How are you gonna know? I live in 5 p.m.
Who's waiting?
That's stupid.
Oh, well, so everything could be like muted, closed, so if you're ready.
So we're going to.
Do you have Nicole Flora's
And I always say
cell phone
that,
number?
you know, the girls, you never know what you're gonna get. These boys, you never know what you're gonna get. You never know. My girl is
gonna get.
even keeled, no problem. Thank goodness I have her. She drives for me, she's responsible. My boys, whew. Love them dearly.
When did you get them? Were they in the naval fosters or?
One's been over a year and the other one
I did want to
showed up
say,
in
Okay, so,
October.
I have, so what I'll do is I'll open up the room, he's gonna be in there. I'm gonna put him in the waiting room. And then when you guys are ready, you can let him out of the waiting room.
Yeah. We were the only family that they could.
So we'll go in, he'll be in there, and he's gonna be in there waiting. And then we'll just tell him.
No,
what's going on,
the doctor.
And then that we're gonna put him in the waiting room.
Claflin.
And then you guys will let him in.
Oh, I was thinking it was John.
Yeah.
It would be rude, he's in Chicago.
I know.
While you're out there.
I know.
great, great job though getting it posted on Thursday. That was really good. Last week?
Yeah, they, I think I was really.
Yeah.
You like the Thursday?
That, you guys did great on that, yeah. I was like, wow.
I was close to.
I didn't know what to do with myself on Friday. I was like, I'm not stressed today.
Yeah.
I think when later on in life I would be like interested I only want like one biological thing, but I could probably like foster one.
Off the dock, so.
I don't think I ever want to be pregnant again, but I would be down for,
That's the best way to go.
right.
Where you just go to the hospital and you pick up a baby. That's when I got my daughter, she was 7 days old, I showed up, brought her home, she cried for 3 years, but.
She cried for 3 years.
Because they're only on drugs for alcohol, basically. Lucky she was cute.
Well, have a good rest of your day.
I have fun.
Hmm.
It's better than it is. Don't ask, never ask a lawyer for a time. We are always wrong. No matter what we say, the judge always looks at us like you're lying. We're not lying.
All right, Eric, are you in there, and can you hear me?
I can, yes. Hey, how you doing?
All right, great, I am good. So what we're gonna do here is they have a little bit to go through before your interview. I'm going to put you in the waiting room, and then when they are ready for you, they will pull you out of the waiting room and bring you into the Zoom room.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Awesome, no problem.
Do we know how to pull them out of the waiting room?
Yeah.
We can't,
go. Thank you, sir.
we can't get you.
So, we're going to turn the waiting room on. I'm going to kick Eric into the waiting room. So right now, he's in that, you guys see the participants panel over there on the right-hand side? There's a little layer on top, and it says Area M, waiting room. So when you're ready for him, you're just going to take this mouse here, hover it over there, and hit Admit. I'll bring him right in. So for this system here, because of how it's set up to only be this, so that it's not involving anything back there, this is the microphone. I don't know what's going to be for you guys up there at the dais. I don't know how well it's going to pick up. Yeah.
We could talk pretty loudly if
Or
we
you
want to.
shout. So this is the speaker. This is where his audio is going to be coming out of.
Nice and loud.
Yeah, that was.
I like him.
Yeah. So and that's indicating the mute status. So, but there's no one else in this room, so if it's unmuted, it's not going to be an issue. But when you guys do have him in here, make sure it's not red. Okay. So with that, you should be good. If anything breaks, you know how to get a hold of me? She'll reach out to you. So, yeah. Do you have my number if you need it?
Is Sam still here?
245. Sam is gone.
Oh, good.
0157. You guys all have it. I just shout it anyway.
We'll just stand in the hallway and go, Jay!
That'll get my attention too.